The primeval forests of Finland pulsed with an ancient heartbeat, a rhythm deeply intertwined with the slumber of Antero Vipunen, the earth giant. His colossal form, nestled just beneath the fertile earth, served as a living archive of forgotten lore. As Antero Vipunen slept, the wind whispered secrets through the pines, the roots sang their silent songs, and the very essence of the earth seeped into his being. He was a titan of slumbering wisdom, a living monument to the timeless tapestry of nature. One day, a tremor of disquiet, a dissonance in the earth's heartbeat, shattered the ancient rhythm. A lone figure, cloaked in shadows and worry, emerged from the emerald depths. It was Vainamoinen, a powerful wizard and revered hero, his brow furrowed in a deep crease. He was in the midst of crafting a magnificent vessel, a boat destined to carry him on journeys beyond the known world, a vessel that would pierce the veils of reality itself. Yet, the project remained incomplete. Vainamoinen lacked the final, crucial spell and arcane binding that would hold the very essence of the vessel together. Legends spoke of Antero Vipunen, the earth giant, whose slumber held the secrets whispered by the earth itself. Surely within the vast well of his knowledge, Antero Vipunen would possess the spell Vainamoinen desperately sought. But how to rouse such a colossal being, one so deeply entwined with the slumbering earth? The task seemed insurmountable, a challenge that could echo through eternity unanswered. Vainamoinen approached the silent giant with a mixture of trepidation and hope. He raised his voice, a powerful hymn that echoed through the ancient trees, a song of supplication aimed at piercing the veil of Antero Vipunen's slumber. The very air vibrated with his plea, leaves trembled on their branches, and a flock of startled birds erupted from the canopy in a flurry of feathers and panicked cries. Yet, Antero Vipunen remained unfazed, his slumber undisturbed, his colossal form a silent testament to the deep slumber he held. Desperation gnawed at Vainamoinen. The whispers of failure coiled around him like a venomous snake. He couldn't let his grand endeavor falter. But how? His eyes darted across the forest floor, landing on a fallen branch, weathered and sharpened by time. A desperate plan, fraught with peril, began to take shape in his mind. With a deep breath and a surge of magic that resonated through the very earth, Vainamoinen transformed the branch into a shimmering spear, a point of silver moonlight in the dappled sunlight. Then, with a steely resolve and a voice choked with apprehension, he uttered a word of power, a command that crackled with raw magic. The spear shot forth, propelled by an unseen force, disappearing into the giant's ear canal with a sickening thud. A horrifying silence followed. Had he committed a terrible act? Had he offended the very spirit of the earth itself? Vainamoinen felt a chilling sense of dread creep into his bones. He had crossed a line, and the consequences were yet to unfold. Then, a tremor that grew into a shuddering groan that seemed to emanate from the core of the world itself, shattered the unnerving silence. Antero Vipunen stirred, a colossal hand reaching up to dislodge the spear that violated his slumber. But it was too late. His mighty yawn, a sound that could have shattered mountains and sundered the very earth, ripped through the forest, a sonic boom that sent shockwaves through the trees, flattening anything unfortunate enough to stand in its path. And with that yawn, something unthinkable happened. Vainamoinen, caught completely off guard, was sucked into the cavernous darkness of the giant's stomach. Panic surged through him, threatening to consume him whole. But Vainamoinen was a wizard, a man who navigated the uncharted territories of magic. With a desperate flick of his wrist, he conjured a crackling forge of fire, its flames illuminating the grotesque and churning darkness within. There, in the unimaginable belly of the earth giant, bathed in the eerie glow of his forge, Vainamoinen began to work. He hammered and shaped the very air itself, his tools clanging against unseen walls. The commotion within Antero Vipunen was like a miniature sun erupting inside him. The giant convulsed, tremors racking his colossal form, shaking the very foundations of the forest. He coughed violently, a cough that ripped through the trees and sent shockwaves through the earth. And then, with a heave that could have rearranged the landscape, Antero Vipunen expelled both the magical forge and a rather disheveled Vainamoinen. Vainamoinen emerged, singed but triumphant, clutching a scrap of bark. Inscribed upon it, glowing with a faint magical luminescence, was the binding spell he so desperately sought. But his victory was tinged with a newfound respect, a touch of awe bordering on fear, for the power he had dared to disturb. Antero Vipunen, the annoyance of being briefly turned into a living furnace clearly forgotten, simply yawned again, a sound that echoed through the forest like the sigh of a slumbering god. The colossal form settled back down, the earth rippling softly beneath him, and the ancient rhythm of the forest resumed, albeit with a subtle tremor, a permanent reminder of the day the earth giant was awakened. Vainamoinen, forever changed by his ordeal, surveyed the scene. The forest, once silent, now seemed to hum with a newfound energy, a respect for the slumbering giant that resonated within him. He had not only acquired the binding spell, but had also gained a profound understanding of the delicate balance between the world of men and the slumbering power that lay beneath. The task that awaited him, however, was far from over. The binding spell pulsed with an arcane power, a power that demanded respect and a meticulous hand. He had to decipher its secrets, to understand the language whispered by the earth itself. Weeks turned into months as Vainamoinen pored over the inscription, his brow furrowed in concentration. The forest watched, the wind carrying whispers of his struggle, the trees rustling in anticipation. Finally, on a night bathed in the ethereal glow of the midnight sun, a breakthrough arrived. The inscription yielded its secrets, the language of the earth translating into a symphony of arcane symbols that danced before Vainamoinen's eyes. With trembling hands, he began to translate the spell, weaving its power into the very fabric of his unfinished vessel. The forest held its breath as the air crackled with magic, the trees swaying as if caught in an invisible current. Days bled into nights as Vainamoinen toiled, his determination fueled by the knowledge that he now walked a tightrope between creation and destruction. One wrong move, one misplaced rune, and the consequences could be catastrophic. The forest held its breath, the very earth itself seeming to wait with bated breath. Then, with a final flourish, Vainamoinen completed the inscription. The air crackled with a surge of power, a blinding light erupting from the vessel. The forest roared in approval, the trees swaying wildly as if celebrating a newborn star. The boat, once a collection of disparate parts, pulsed with a newfound life, an arcane hum resonating from its very core. Vainamoinen, drained but exhilarated, christened the vessel Sampo, a vessel destined to carry him on journeys beyond the veil, a testament to his perseverance and his daring gamble with the slumbering giant. As he stepped aboard, the forest seemed to bow in reverence, the wind whispering tales of the day the earth giant was awakened, a day that forever altered the delicate balance between the world above and the slumbering power that lay hidden beneath.